There's a lot of changes I want to see in Final Fantasy XIV, and a lot of them are quality of life changes, or some things that people will say are relatively useless to add, and it will be completely fine that they're not added to the game. But even so that some of these can be considered useless or are useless, I still think that they will benefit the game overall and have a lot more validity in certain aspects of the game in general. And one of these quality of life / useless thing, whatever you want to call it, I want to see in Final Fantasy XIV is having a multiple select type of option. And what I mean by that is that right now in Final Fantasy XIV, if you want to take something out of your inventory by moving it into different storage or deleting it, you have to do it one by one, which get really annoying because sometimes when you're doing dungeon runs or level roulette or anything like that, you're going to get gear that you really do not want at all in your inventory. And of course, this would not only help people who are doing that or anything similar, this would also help the crafters too. Because deleting some unwanted type of material or gear that you made as a crafter would just be a lot more easier, or moving it to different type of storage would just be a life-saving time for them because they probably spend it in the inventory more than anyone else in this whole goddamn Forsaken game. Of course, this doesn't fit really the overall problem with the inventory, which everyone knows that we don't have enough slots for the amount of jobs that we have in Final Fantasy XIV. This will just make it where we have a lot more less time to spend in the inventory, and I think that's just a benefit because less time I have to be in the inventory means more time that I could play the game actually. But let's move on to the next one, which is going to be talking about the game gear and weapon preview. When you're looking at a weapon in 14 in the gear preview, it's in a gray background with very little lighting. My suggestion is to have an option where we're allowed to change the background of the gear preview. And at first this sounds useless because most of the time when you're trying to get gear in Final Fantasy XIV, it's not trying to get like the best type of stats or anything. It's for glam, let's be honest here. So when you're looking at these preview, you want to know if it's actually worth getting this gear before you purchase it or try to go for the grind for that gear. So that's why you would use gear preview. But most of the time when you're looking at the preview in 14, you're looking at a gray background with a very monotone lighting. So there's going to be points where the gear looks a lot more worse than it actually does, and vice versa, it might actually look worse outside of it. But having options where you could change the background, the lighting, or anything like that will honestly fix that problem. You will know like, okay, does it look good here? Does it look good here? And you could make your determination of buying that gear 5 times better than what it is actually before. And this will potentially actually save time when playing the game because now you know what you're going to like and what you're not going to like because of the different backgrounds and things like that. So I think it's just going to be something that is really nifty to have. Do I think it's absolutely important to have? No, but I think it's a very nice quality of life change to have in the game. But before I go to the third one, I do want to say please subscribe to the channel. It does help me out a lot. And if you're not going to do it for me, do it for the red panda. And if you don't, he knows that you're not subscribed and he gets very sad. And you don't want to see a red panda to be sad. So subscribe for him. The third one is the one that I personally want to see change the most. And this one is where is the location of the report. I want the location of the report system to be completely separate than what it is right now. And if you don't know what it is right now, you have to go to your settings and then support deck and then into contact us, and then there's multiple reports like harassment, cheating, and etc. I believe that it should just be settings and report completely separate from contact us. And also I personally believe too that if you right click a player, it should have a report, and this will make it where we'll already have the time, the date, and the location. The only thing you have to do is give your reason why you're reporting this person, and then a process of are you sure you want to do this and blah blah blah. So it's still the same thing, just a lot more quicker and a lot more convenience on how the reporting should ideally work and where it is located in the overall game. But this is something that's been a problem with Final Fantasy XIV for a very long time when it comes to user experience or even the UI, where it's jumble up in one area and trying to navigate it. It's not really great at all, and it does have to be updated to be a lot more friendlier for people to go through. the one that I want to see is the reporting system just being more convenient for players. And the very last one that I am going to mention is just going to be chat bubbles. And this one is something that I can live out of. It's a quality of life change that if I don't see ever in Final Fantasy XIV, it will not take away my overall experience from the game. But I have a feeling that if chat bubbles is added to Final Fantasy XIV, it will be a brilliant quality of life change for the game overall. And the reason is because Final Fantasy XIV is a heavy social game. In almost every aspect, it doesn't matter what you do, chatting is super important. Raiding, RPing, casual content. Chat is something that people have done in this game for a very long time, but the major problem when it comes to chatting is that it sometimes is very difficult to read on what you're trying to understand. This isn't any aspect one-on-one conversation because you're reading chat, but there's a bunch of clutter happening too, like on your own or other people talking, or of something that like server maintenance or events happening. It becomes very annoying to read chat sometimes. So this is where chat bubbles come in now. You just not ignore that, you're just reading the bubble at the top of the person, and it's just a super clean experience that you could have. This could also be helpful when it comes to raiding. When someone is trying to explain a mechanic, but then there's someone also speaking at the same time, and then the chat get a little cluttered and it becomes annoying. But with chat bubble, it makes it where you just have to read what the person is saying on top of their character, and you don't really have to worry about chat as much and the clutter that it's going to have. Again, it just makes it where it's a lot more clean and fluent experience for the overall game. And there's one problem. Chat bubble is originally a plugin that Final Fantasy XIV had, and every time when a plugin have been added to Final Fantasy XIV, someone get banned. This happened with party buff, icons on citing the name for your job, and many more. So there's a theme here that happening. So someone has to be sacrificed for chat bubble to happen. So whoever that is getting banned for a chat bubble, I hope you have a wonderful vacation for a week or a month. Come back and just know that you are a hero that got banned. But these are the few quality of life changes that I want to see be added to Final Fantasy XIV, and I have many more. And of course, that's not only quality of life changes, there is also major changes that I personally want to see change for Final Fantasy XIV, but that's an entirely different topic, probably for a different time. People will say these are useless and will probably never be added to Final Fantasy XIV, or should not be added, but I personally believe again that it should be, because it will just make the game overall experience a lot more better. But I hope all of you have a wonderful day, and see ya.